Hello everyone. In this short video we're going to be talking about how to set up a part for machining in the VisualCAMc app for Onshape. So what I've got on the screen right now is an Onshape part, and this is the part right here. We've created an Onshape, and we have different tabs for VisualCAMc down here. So if we look at VisualCAMc, you'll see the part is loaded, and every part is basically set up the same way. You look at the shape of your part, the size of your part, how you want it to be oriented on your CNC machine, and there's various steps in each setup. Basically, the setup is comprised of the first 4 buttons, or first 5 buttons on the VisualCAMc toolbar, and we're going to take a look at each one of them. Starting with the machine, you can select machine from the toolbar, or you can select it from the machining job. And the machine coordinate system by default is aligned with the world coordinate system in Onshape. So you can turn both the triads on with these buttons up here at the top. So you see the smaller triad is the world axis in Onshape, and the larger triad is the machine coordinate system in VisualCAMc. And you can use the machine dialog to orient your machine tool in relation to the part. So for this part, we want our Z-axis to be pointing upward because we're going to machine this top portion of the part. So in the dialog here, we just want to select the set orientation parallel to the X-axis. So you'll see that the Z-axis is now pointing upward. And if this gets a little confusing with the axes, you can turn off the world axis for now. So you see just the machining coordinate system axis on the display. So this is the one that we just rotated with the world X button. Now, we have the Z-axis aligned properly. Then ask yourself, do you want the X and the Y-axis changed? Typically, the X-axis is for the longer end of the part, so we're going to rotate the machine coordinate system about the Z-axis by 90 degrees. And you'll see that the X-axis is now pointed in the long direction of the part, and the Y in the shorter depth portion, and the Z to the top portion. And that's what we want, so we'll pick Save. So now we have the machine definition set, and you'll see that it's set to 3-axis. For both 2-axis and 3-axis operations, the machine will be set to 3-axis. If you want to change that, for example, if you want to do index 4-axis machining or index 5-axis machining, you can just double click on the machine and go to the definition tab and change the number of axes. Now, if you change these axes, obviously there's going to be more fields down here because it's going to ask you to set the 4th primary axis on your machine. But for this part, we're going to leave it set to 3-axis, and we'll go ahead and pick Save. Now, the next part in the setup, it relates to your post. What controller type do you have installed on your CNC machine? So we'll select the post button. And the list of posts is what I just have currently loaded for this document. You can load from a list of over 300 posts just by selecting the Load from Defaults button and select the plus icon, and it'll list all of the available posts, over 300 of them. Since we already have a Haas post listed and that's the one we're going to use, we don't need to load another one. So we just select the Haas post and pick Close. So you'll see that post is now defined as Haas in our machining job tree. So the next portion of the setup is the stock. What is the shape and size of the stock you're going to be cutting? Well, for this part, we're going to use a box stock, since this is a rectangular box shaped part. So we'll drop the stock menu down and pick Part Box Stock. And you'll see in the bounds section that it tells you the size of your part. So it's 5 inches in the X, 4 inches in the Y, and 1.5 inches tall in the Z. So we're going to add 100 thousandths to the X, 100 thousandths to the Y, and 100 thousandths to the Z to add some material around this part that we can finish it out with. And we'll go ahead and pick Save, and we'll see that our stock is now defined as part box stock. Now, the setup icon, by default, there's one setup in your machining job when you open a part, and that setup is aligned with the machine coordinate system by default. And it's also by default, when you first open a part, your machine is aligned with your world coordinate system in Onshape. So those three are all aligned when you first open a part. But you can change the orientation of the setup axes if you want to machine, say, from another direction, from the bottom, say, or from the right. You can add another setup, or you can edit this setup. So by default, this setup is already aligned the way we want it. So we'll go ahead and cancel that. We don't need to edit the setup for this particular part. So the last item on the setup checklist is your work zero. Where on your stock do you want to zero your machine out at? Some people machine always down in the bottom left corner or the bottom right corner. Some people like to touch off on the top corner of the stock. So we'll just show you how to do that based on the stock. So we're going to pick the work zero button, and the work zero dialog is displayed. And you can, for the type of work zero, we'll set it to stock box. And you'll see that the MCS moved from the default origin of the world coordinate system up to one of the corners of the stock, because we set it to the stock box. Now, if you had wanted to set it to a part box, it would move down to the part box. So we're going to set it to stock box, and for the highest face, we're going to pick the highest Z position on the stock, and we're going to set it to this front southwest corner of the stock. And if you have multiple work zeros and you want to set up the work offset registers, you can just pick that button and it'll output your G54s. So we'll go ahead and pick Save there, and you'll see that we have a work zero now defined on this corner of the stock. So you see that the setup is defined, the axes are aligned with the machine. The location of the setup is aligned with the world origin and Onshape, as well as the machine. But then you can move that machine coordinate system to a location either on the part or on the stock. So all the tool paths that you create now all the coordinates will be measured from this point on the stock. Well, that's it for the setup. Look forward to more videos from Mecsoft.com. Thank you.